one thing that's been polarizing to me on LinkedIn and other social media sites is these people that are talking about they got their dream job. They've waited all their life. They're 23 years old. They waited all their life to get their dream job. They're 29. They got their dream job. They're 50. They got their dream job. I need to know how they got their dream job, what they did to get their dream job, and the research and development they did behind getting their dream job. Because I see a lot of that too. Like, I researched this company and realized it was my dream job. Now, I've never worked a day there. I don't know anything about them, but they got a ping pong table and a keg in the office, and it's my dream job. So, I mean, I guess, Carson, maybe me and you are doing something wrong here, but, are we at our dream job? I mean, how does one person decide what's their dream job and what's their dream and what's not?
Yeah, I got a lot of thoughts there. So first off, you saw it on social media. And let's face it, we put out an image on social media that sometimes is not reality. So, there may be somebody that they're trying to impress with that post, or, they want everybody to think, hey, I cracked the meaning of life. And the reality is those same people often within 6 months, once they hit some brick walls, they're looking to get out. I'm just saying that's been my experience. I've seen a lot of people really jazzed about a job, and then 6 months later, it's like, man, I got to get out of this place. I think you create your own dream job, right? I've been in enough jobs to know that I've been fortunate because I've brought my own kind of my flair, my strengths into the role, and I've tried to infuse what I'm passionate about into the job. And so I've tried to make them my own. I've been really lucky because I've come into a few roles in my life that were brand new, some at prominent companies and some at very small organizations. And both were valuable for very good reasons. So in a large organization, if you're starting a brand new role, you've got a lot of ability to kind of forge your own path. And so I think you can create that as a dream job by doing it the way you want to do it. Now, granted, if you're a flop, you're still going to be held accountable to metrics and performance. But I think the key element is, like, for instance, if you're doing something with a smaller organization, you've got a lot of freedom and ability to do that. I know we were talking earlier about freedom and some of the things that when you're looking at a role and kind of what you do and you're comparing it to something else, we always are looking at something else. I think guys like me and you, we've got this nagging itch that's always like, should I or could I be doing something different? And, the thing of the matter is, it's okay to look around and see kind of what else is out there. But at the same time, you're an ambassador of your brand. You've got to make sure you fulfill your edict. You're in a contract with your organization. So I try to do everything I can to make my current job my dream job. And I've been really lucky to be able to do that. And I think if you commit to what you're doing and you persevere when you come into roadblocks, anything could be a dream job. But I also can tell you, so you mentioned some of the research stuff, and I'd be curious. I'm interested a little bit more of kind of that talk track, like what you think is the common thread. Because if somebody says like, hey, I got my dream job, I researched, I studied, I reached out to these people. First off, we're seeing a very small sampling of the population. You see a social media post and it gets you thinking. You see a few, it gets you thinking. But by no means do I think that that's necessarily indicative of everyone, because I don't think everybody's got their dream job or what they think is their dream job. They could, but I don't know that everybody has the mindset that they need. And sometimes I don't either, right? I mean, I think there's a mindset element to it. But the other thing too is it's about relationships. Every role I've been pulled into of meaning for the last decade has been because of relationships that I've been able to forge along the way. They saw something in me that they felt I'd add value, which is great. I'm honored, I'm humbled, I'm flattered. I went in, and sometimes those jobs overwhelmed me. Sometimes I was like, is this the right role for me? But at given time, once you kind of get your footing and you see ways that you can bring in what you're good at, I think any job can be your dream job. Research is great. Finding out about a company culture is great. But at the end of it, I think it all comes down to relationships. And if you can make those relationships work and infuse your strengths and your passions into your job, any job can be dream job. What say you?
I mean, I think I thought at one point about almost 2 years ago that I had my dream job, that I was set up somewhere in a management position, a development position, a trainer position where I was going to have a lot of carte blanche on how the sales team operated. You know, I researched the company. I knew the company. I competed against that company. It turned out, Carson, that 6-9 months into that quote unquote dream job, it was not the dream job. So, you know, I've had to go back and rebrand and recreate my dream job again. And like I said, I was talking to people yesterday on the phone. You know, I think it's only your dream job if you create it. Like you said, I mean, you could go work for any company and get paid all the money in the world. But if the culture's bad, your relationships with management and your peers are bad, that's not good.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not good. And like I said, I mean, just because the title says, you know, so-and-so, I work here at so-and-so, you know, let's see what happens 6 months down the line and you're working that dream job and you get hit with a really big roadblock and you don't get over that roadblock and you lose a deal or you something happens and you get thrown under the bus. I think you and I have both been thrown under the bus before in our careers. How do you adapt past that at your dream job? You know, like you said it was your dream job. Now you got thrown under the bus. Is it still your dream job? What do you think?
There's a quote from Orson Welles. It's something along the lines of a happy ending depends on where you end your story. So I think it's funny, you know, you see these Disney films and they make you believe that, oh, there's just happily ever after. Oh, I got my dream job. Everything's going to be smooth sailing from here. It's not reality. And like anything, we did a chat about this a few weeks ago. Nothing good or bad lasts. And I tell that a lot of times to people that are in a slump or struggling. You got to keep swinging, you know. R.I.P. Mr. Hank Aaron. You know, he has a quote. Anytime I was in a slump, I just kept swinging. I think we've got to understand that. Look, yeah, you're at the top of the mountain right now. You found this dream job. There's going to be realities once you come in. I mean, you've got to understand all of the parameters of the role, and like you said, you're going to hit these roadblocks along the way. And it's what you do in situations like that that are going to ultimately dictate your trajectory. Because there's a lot of people that want to turn tail and run. And there's a lot of, and that's when they start saying, oh, well, you know, now I'm looking for another role. I've seen that happen so many times where people are all jazzed because they got a role. And then shortly thereafter, they're looking for something else. And don't get me wrong, like, I see the merits in making strategic moves in your career. And sometimes you have to make risks in your career. I've made them, and they didn't. Sometimes they paid off. Sometimes they didn't. But nothing good or bad lasts. And I think that's the key is what are you going to do when your dream job doesn't necessarily turn into a nightmare, but isn't all sunshine and rainbows. And it's that perseverance element that's going to push you through. I mean, I've had things going really great, and then everything in my world changes. And so it's what you do to kind of adapt and pivot that's going to ultimately dictate your success. So I don't know that I believe in the philosophy of dream job the way that it's presented. I think that people can get something that really attracts and excites them. It's kind of like dating. You first start seeing someone, you don't know squat about them, and you're just getting to know them. So what you know, you like, but then the more over time that you find out about each other, there's quirks or there's things that people, have to get past or accept. And I think it's the same with a job. You have to learn to accept the job holistically. And you also have to understand that if you're looking at something else, you've got to truly weigh that entire package versus what you're doing right now. Because I could absolutely pick out things that I don't enjoy about my job. But overall, like, I'm super fortunate. I have relative freedom to do things the way that I want. I'm surrounded by brilliant people. Sure, sometimes things get very challenging, but at the end of it, like, I come out ahead. And hopefully everybody feels that way about the role. Personally, I'm in a dream job if I feel like I come out ahead, even if it's 51-49 in favor.
Well, I think a lot of people also get fixated on this salary is my dream job. Salary is not a dream job. I think a lot of times when decisions are made about careers and companies, some of the intangibles aren't really talked about. What are you doing on the weekends? Are you working on the weekends? Are you picking up your phone after 5 o'clock? There's so many intangibles that are out there that aren't ever taken into consideration because they see that dollar sign and they're like, oh, that's it, I'm going. So I think the people need to get past that. Um,